My name's Steve. I'm going to talk about the Milwaukee packouts. Got a pretty good deal on them. Normally they were $279, $280 somewhere in there. I see them at Home Depot. I thought were really great boxes, but for the price it was just a little too much more than I wanted to pay for. Especially just for a toolbox. But they're really well built, so I really think they're worth the money. But I actually ended up going to Northern Tool one day. I was looking for something else and seeing that they were selling them. This was right after Christmas, and they had them 28 to 38% off. And the guy actually gave me another 10% off for being a government employee, which was really cool. So I got them. The bottom box normally retailed $129. I got it for $89. The large toolbox retail normally $89.99. I got it for $59.99. And these top toolboxes here, I got 3 of them. Got them for $49.99. Normally $69.99. And these actually came with the Kaizen foam inserts already pre-cut out for those boxes. They fit perfectly in there, so you can customize how you wanted to do your your tool shadowing, how you wanted it. I'll talk a little bit more about that foam and what I went with. I used the foam at first, and I didn't like it. It didn't seem like it was very durable, so I switched to another type foam. I actually got the anti-fatigue floor matting. I picked it up at Harbor Freight for $7.99 a roll. I think I used about maybe 5 to 7 rolls. I can't really remember how many I used. Took them all out, unrolled them. You see why the copper plates is on there. That's just to hold them down because they want to keep rolling back up from where they stayed rolled so long. I'd unroll them, bend them back and forth a couple times just to get the kinks out of them so they wouldn't be so strong to pull back to stay rolled up. Those were $7.99. You can also get their interlocking floor mats. You can get a pack of 4 of them for, I think it was $8.99, and I chose to use the roll foam because I was able to get more out of it per piece, and these were actually, it was $1 cheaper, and I got one more piece out of it. I think I was able actually to get 5 sections out of per roll, which each section, of course, is a layer, and you actually had a little bit left over, and I'll show you what I did with the leftovers too. All right, but let's take a look at the boxes. They're really great boxes. Like I said, I kind of gawked at them at first because of how expensive they were, and hey, you're buying a name or whatever. No, they really made these boxes well. They got these metal corners on there for reinforcement. You can actually use them to tie them down as well. They've got metal reinforced padlock holes, and that's how I secure them in my truck. I'll padlock them, then I run a cable through the locks and lock it to the bed. That way it'll deter would-be opportunity thieves from stealing my tools. If they want them bad enough, they'll find a way to get them off the truck, but I usually don't leave them in my truck that long. But I've got the large box, the large toolbox, and I've got 3 of these top boxes. Each has got their own tools in it. This one right here is actually my battery box. Yes, I know there's DeWalt tools in a Milwaukee box. Call the tool police on me. I'm sure they'll give me a great charge for that. Maybe one day I'll go to Milwaukee, but right now everything I've got is DeWalt, and I'm going to stay with DeWalt for a while. The battery chargers I put in here, they are all hardwired in, so I can just set my battery on there, and you charge it on the job. Don't even have to take the stuff out of the box really. Got a little port here on the side. Cut a hole in the side. Maybe a little port. Just plug my drop cord in and go with that. I had thought about cutting it out deep enough to where I could put the batteries on and have the lid shut while charging. But I was worried about, the chargers generate too much heat and causing a problem, burning something up, maybe burning the battery or the charger itself up. What I like best about these is all the other guys, they're rigid. They have a handle on the side. You have to pop loose. You'd pop it up here, lock it in, take it off, then you take it off. But these right here, what I like best about these is one finger. You take it and pull it off of the box. All right, next I've got my Sawzall box. Same deal. Got a charger in here. This one's not hardwired in. I'll actually pull this one out, plug it into the wall. I got my blades, a battery, and then of course if I need another battery, I'll grab it out of the box. But I really like this foam a whole lot better than that Kaizen foam. It's a lot more durable, a lot more tough. I think it's got a lot more padding. Say if this box was to fall off the truck going 50 miles an hour down the road, I'm pretty sure my tools will be fine inside. The box, I believe it would hold up pretty well. I'm sure you would be able to tell it fell off a truck, but I don't think it would break it or anything. They're really, really tough made. Again, one finger, take it on, take it off. All right, this is my large toolbox. This is where I keep my drills and stuff at. I actually made it in 2 layers. Like I can grab this right here, just pull this up, and then I've got my drill bits and stuff underneath, and I still got room that I can put more things in there if I need to. I like to keep my job site organized. It's easier to find stuff if everything's organized. I hate having to dig and rummage through things trying to find my tools or materials or whatnot. And again, this is one finger, pop it on, pop it off. In the bottom box, I really don't have a whole lot in here. This is where I'll put my skill saw, my little flashlight, some little tools. There's my cable for locking it down. Like hole saws, a little bit of little ratchet set in there if I need that. Normally, like I said, I'll put drop cords in there, big pipe wrenches, hammers, skill saw, whatnot. This is my oscillating box. All my little blades and charger and battery in there, and the tools in there. And when I'm at home, to save space in my shop, I cut out some pegboard. Like the top, I just measured off the top of the box, from the edges to here, or excuse me, from the edges to here. Measured off. It didn't really take a whole lot of times trying to make it work. A couple little kinks to work out, but the best thing is, like I said, I can hang them on the wall when I'm at home, and if I need a tool, with the way I've got the foam in there, it stays in there. I can actually open it up, grab a tool, pull it out, shut it up. Don't just open the box and it all falls out. But this is the pegboard. Now it seems to be pretty rigid, but it may fail over time, and if it does, I'll make a new one. The only other thing I've seen on YouTube for is wall solution. Everybody's seen the Milwaukee van and all these things, but and there was one guy said, "Oh, check out what I made on my for my Milwaukee boxes to hang on," and and it cuts to a video of I guess it was like a CNC or a computer driven plasma cutter, and I'm like, yeah, we've all got those at home, so that's why I went with pegboard. All right, I'm gonna try to set you up here to get you a little bit of a stiller view, and talk about some of these other things in the foam that I used. All right, got you in there now. I hope you can see good. All right, this is the Kaizen foam. They have already sent it, sent it pre-cut, and this is actually what I used for my mold to make the foam that I got work in my boxes. So I appreciate the already template there from Kaizen. But this is what I didn't like about the Kaizen foam, is it cuts really well. It's easy to work with. You just you take a razor blade, or I actually used a scraper, and what I would do was heat it up with a torch, and it goes right into it. I mean, you don't even have to heat for this type of foam. You don't even have to heat it up really that hot. I mean, I wouldn't want to touch the blade once you heat it up, but it's really not even it doesn't have to be glowing red or anything to get it to cut. But you would just cut out what you want. Mark it how you want it. Kaizen sells they'll sell you the razor blade that they recommend. It's one of those long cheapo blades with you can break it off, make a new tip out of it anytime you need to. And they sell a long tipped Sharpie marker. It's a regular marker, and then it's got a tip about that long one that's really, really, really fine that you can use to trace around your tools. And what I actually used was I took a hose clamp and broke it in half and kind of bent it the way I wanted to, and I would just heat that up and kind of just go beside the tool, and that would get a good tracing outline. You didn't have to get it hot enough so it didn't melt your tool or anything like that by touching the rubber parts of it. That's what I used to mark it, and then I would actually take this scraper blade here, like I said, heat it up, push it in where I needed to, and then I'd actually made another scraper blade like this. That way I could go in here and really get those, flatten it out really well, cut in those corners that wanted to be a nuisance trying to get out, wanted to be stubborn. And also you can take a copper pipe. I took this one, you can see where I ground it down sharp because there were some places I had to cut straight into. But you just heat it up, and you can actually just lay it across here, and what it'll do is it'll melt you a nice little place for you to put your finger in to get your stuff up if you set your tools or your bolts or whatever you're putting in here that deep. But what I ended up using mostly was my oscillating tool. With these blades here, and I would cut into it. You know, all you had to do was just plunge cut and mark on the side how deep you wanted your tool to go, plunge cut it in, and it worked really well. But then when I actually found out, it was about the last box, these flexible scraper blades, if you put that on there and use it, it's kind of like an electric razor knife. It just goes right in and it leaves a really smooth edge. Here, I'll get one and I'll show you. Like if you use the flexible, it works really well, and it cuts at a really clean line there. And I mean, the saw blades are cut really well too. I just got this oscillating tool. I've seen them before, used them a couple times. They were great. So I was like, I got to get me one of those for things I do. These cut good, but you can see they make it a little bit rougher. And if you want to take care of that roughness, you don't have a flexible blade or whatnot, you can actually take your scraper and heat the scraper up and just touch it along the sides, and it'll melt it right down and make it flat. It'll give it this kind of a burnished look, and it makes it a little more rigid on the edges too. That's the way I did mine. You know, I used either the flat blade, this blade, or the scraper blade, and this little guy was for the little corners. I didn't want to cut more material than I needed to cut out. I'm sure you guys, you know, you were like me, you were on YouTube looking around for different ideas, different ways to do things, different, you know, cost-effective ways. What I glued the sheets together with, I used 3M high strength contact adhesive. Works really well. You take and you spray both surfaces that you want to mate together, let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. Once you can touch the glue without it peeling up on your fingers, it's ready to be mated together. But before you put them together, I would make sure you got them exactly the way you want to put them, because once you put them together, they're really a pain to get apart, and then you'll have to re-glue it and wait another 5 to 10 minutes. But what I was saying, when on these strips, I was able to get 5 layers out of each roll, and that left me with a strip this wide all the way down the roll. And what I did with those is I cut them to the same 13 inches that I needed, and you know, I would layer them in there like, you know, like so, and I would end up getting another layer. So after, you know, 5 rolls of anti-fatigue foam, I'd get an extra layer for free, or actually a whole nother roll for free, really, if you look at it. And when you're gluing them together, you see how this has got this natural curve to it from where it was packaged. You can glue them together all like this, you know, all face to back. But what I found when I did that on the first one, it kind of wanted to keep that natural curve from where it had been packaged. So what I tried to do was I put one down, then I do face to face, and then back to back, and then face to face, and back to back. And what that would do is, when they were glued, they were working against each other. You know, one's pulling away, and they would actually pull themselves really straight and really flat. And that's how this one came out, looking so flat. You know, I apologize for the burn right here, but you'll never see that anyway because it's in the box. But I'm sure you guys have got your ways of doing things. This is just the way I did it. I figured I'd pass some information along to you. If you're just trying to do this out, or you couldn't figure out the best way to do it, feel free to leave a comment if you'd like. Like I said, this is my first video. I'm sure somewhere I've boogered it up. If you found a better way to do it, shoot me a message, let me know. And I'm sure there's many other foams out there that you could use. This is just what I found. It was a pretty cheap alternative, and it's really durable. I wouldn't be afraid that if this, you know, fell off the truck, you know, going down the road or something, I wouldn't be worried that my tools were damaged. Now the box may get a little bit damaged, but I still think the box will be okay too. Like I said, feel free to comment, like the video, and you guys have a good one.